Hi there, my name is Nicole Hebert with the Moose Jaw Journey to Hope team, and this is Voices of Hope.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Todd Rennebohm. I'm from Indian Head, Saskatchewan. I'm a husband, father of 2 kids, and I'm the author of Sometimes Daddy Cries, a children's book, and a mental health podcast called Bunnyhugs and Mental Health. I am 5 years sober, and I am a suicide attempt survivor, and I'm in recovery from mental health illnesses, I guess, or disorders, and I'm in recovery from addictions.
Yes, I am so happy that you're here, Todd. When your name came up, I just was like, oh, I gotta meet him. I just know we're going to have things to chat about, and we have. So I'm just super excited to have you here. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about your podcast and your book and how that came to be. But maybe first let's focus on some of the pillars in your life that kind of influenced your recovery and your healing. So if you could think of some moments that became pillars in both your recovery and maybe also your experiences with mental health, what would some of those be?
Well, I guess the first one was when I was 17, and I didn't really realize what depression or anxiety was, but I was missing school and just laying in bed and having no idea what the hell was going on. That was kind of a big one. I remember my dad trying to, find out what's going on and talk to me. He was a social worker. And so that was kind of my first time where I was like, okay, something's not right with me and I don't know what it is. I even at that point, my dad never used the word anxiety. My mom used to say I had a nervous stomach, which I guess is anxiety. So it took me a long time before I actually heard the words anxiety and understood exactly what that meant. And then another big one for me, I mean, obviously a huge one, was my suicide attempt. It was, I call it a suicide attempt. I mean, obviously I was successful, and my brother managed to stop me before there was too much damage done. So, but that's like a huge kind of landmark moment in my life, and kind of when things started going from kind of the darkness and the no idea of what the hell's going on with me exactly, and kind of when I started turning the corner to healing. It took a long time, still took a few years, but that was kind of the key moment of when I started to go on my healing journey, because it was shortly after that I started to see a psychiatrist. I went to the psych ward. The ball slowly started rolling for my healing. Another one, I was in the hospital in and out twice over 2 years. I was seeing a psychiatrist. I had lost my job. They had shut the company down, and I was working on my own. I was self-employed. I had a little kind of art gallery, antique shop / picture framing shop, and I was hanging out in there all day long. But I was drinking every night, and I was smoking a lot of marijuana. I was basically high from the time I got up till the time I went to bed. And so I was starting to find it. That's something I didn't realize, that healing isn't linear. It's very much like this. And then down and then up again. Right. So I thought I was doing well, but I was not doing that well. And I had read an article in the newspaper or online somewhere that there was going to be a bunch of cuts done to the psych ward and to mental health in Regina. And that really, 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 really upset me. And I remember actually sobbing, and but when I say upset, I mean it made me angry. I was really pissed off. So I wrote this big letter about my experience and my suicide attempt and my experience in the hospital and whatnot. And that really kind of blew up a bit, as the kids say, went viral. which is kind of poignant in this last little while here, but it was a good viral, not a bad one. So I that really started me on my kind of advocating stuff. And it was super healing. Again, I kind of declined after that. Because I wasn't, like I said, when I wrote the letter, I wasn't healed, right? I was healing, and kind of because that letter went viral, I don't know, I was getting a lot of attention from people, and so it was kind of, the advocacy role was kind of thrown upon me. It's not something I went out and slowly planned, and so there was a lot of pressure on me, I felt. Most of it was coming from myself, and so I started to decline after a few months of that. One thing I realized when the letter kind of went viral was that I needed to take my own action. I set up some protests and did some. So I started a petition. I did some campaigning, like protests and stuff like that. And I was mad at the system. I was mad at the government, yada yada. But during that, I kind of realized, even in a perfect system, mental health system, I still have to take action for my own health and my own mental health, my own recovery. So I kind of started to do that. I kind of had to hit rock bottom, but I did realize that even with my advocacy, I couldn't just blame everybody and blame the biggest system in the world, the government. And so that's kind of when I went to Pine Lodge and kind of got a hold of my addictions. And I started to recover from those, and I became sober. Eventually, I started working with other people. I started working at Pine Lodge after a couple of years of sobriety, which is another kind of big milestone moment in my life, and which was just great. I kind of went from marching down the street and yelling at the government and no one from the government coming out and talking, right, to working one-on-one with other addicts and other people with mental health issues. And that was just so much more rewarding. It just felt so much better, like I was actually doing something as opposed to just, getting mad, and really pushing other people to take charge of their own mental health issues, their own addictions, and be proactive in their self. So yeah.
First, how do you feel that this kind of has impacted your life now?
I don't think it has.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I was like, okay, where are we going with this one?
It's impacted every aspect of my life. Like, even to my haircut, like everything. Like, I used to have long hair and just be like, I don't give a crap, to like, I care how I look now. Even, when I was in the depths of things, I was a bad parent, I was a bad employee, I was a bad husband, and now maybe I'm still, I'm not perfect, but I'm being proactive. I'm always trying to improve myself, and just that alone makes me a better parent, a better husband, a better employee. And the people around me see that I, at least, I'm always trying to improve myself. Of course, there's dips, and like I said, it's not linear healing. So, but I've gained a lot of trust from people again, and not just trust because of addictions, but trust with my own mental illness. Or I've never really been diagnosed with an illness. It was chronic anxiety and chronic depression, which I guess is an illness, but again, they see that, at least I'm being proactive and trying, so then I gain trust, because I lost trust even with depression and anxiety. So that's kind of a huge change. Another one is with my advocacy work, I've met and talked to a lot of people who have gone kind of through the same things I have. And my attitudes towards things have changed a lot. I try to educate employers, and any employer I've ever had, it's like, this is just like, any other kind of illness or anything. So I'm quite open and quite upfront if I'm starting a new job or I move to a new position or something within the same company, that this is how I am. And I do have some expectations from you to be patient with me at times. I can get overwhelmed. I have a lot of anxiety still. Since I became sober, my depression it's really diminished. I mean, I don't want to say it's non-existent, but it's pretty much non-existent, but I still have anxiety.
I know you talk a bit about your podcast in your book. Do you feel like that is a result of the impact of what you've gone through in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had some art shows in the city and in the province over the last few years as well, and it's been, I mean, all of those things have been extremely healing for me, but also rewarding. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. I've also become a lot more spiritual since kind of getting sober and stuff, which is a big part of AA. It's a spiritual program, not a religious one. Don't confuse those. People confuse them all the time. But and plus, my wife's a natural. She does body talk, which is like a naturopath kind of healing.
Oh yeah.
So between, I don't know, I'm getting a little more hippie-ish as I'm getting more sober. I thought I was a hippie when I smoked pot, but it's more sober I become, the more hippie I'm becoming. So I say hippie, I mean spiritual, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the book, the artwork, the podcast, it's all so very rewarding because I've met so many other people that are going through this stuff, and it's that connection that I kind of talked about, or that we talked about, dealing with one-on-one people when I was working in addictions. It's kind of that same feeling when I'm talking to someone on the podcast and they're being extremely vulnerable and open, because some of the people are professionals. Some of the people, they've talked quite a bit about the stuff. They've either written books or they've been on other podcasts. And other people I talk to, this is the first time they're really talking publicly about some of their problems. So all of it is, there's really great things about talking to all those different types of people. So I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. And I think I've gotten a lot of feedback from listeners who really find a lot of value in my podcast, which is nice. Because I mean, I don't like when people contact me as much and say, hey, great show, thanks for doing this, because I'm not doing much. I'm just hitting record. Like, it's really the other people that I'm talking to that should be getting all the kudos. So anyway, so that's been really, really healing, really, really great. And the book was extremely healing too. The day or the night I took my last drink was night I wrote out my first version of the book, I guess, or my first draft. And it took about 4 years to finish. I'd come back to it and leave it and come back to it and whatnot. And over COVID, I got to do that. And it's been really wonderful. Again, it's like so many people are very appreciative of the book. I'm appreciative for getting that really great feedback. But the other thing is, I really want to normalize mental health issues, and normalize it for the kids who are watching the parents go through things. But like I said, also, I think it's also for the parents, because I think a lot of parents have shame and guilt issues about going through stuff. So when they read it, they're like, so again, I'm not the only person going through this, and it is okay to have depression, go to the hospital if need be and whatnot, and have kids. It's just, it's just like any other sickness. So I keep comparing mental health issues to physical ailments. And I think that not only helps the kids, like, kind of make that connection that your brain and your feelings are just as important as your physical feelings. But again, I think for parents, more so for men, because I think a lot of men have trouble with that. It's funny, women are very, very good at just making that connection. You know, I'm generalizing here, obviously, but I don't know how many women I've met that have bought the book for their husband, not so much for the kids even, but for their husband. And it's really great. I'm glad they're doing that. I'm really looking forward to the day when I'm doing a live book reading, it's mostly fathers in the room, and it's not 95% women. And same with my podcast. My listener data shows that 80% of my listeners are women. So I know that men have these feelings. I know men go through all this stuff, but again, I don't think they're making that connection that it's just as serious as a physical ailment. So, yeah, I think there's that disconnect there somehow for some reason. The other reason I wanted to write the book is, if nothing else, to help start a discussion in the family about mental health issues and what it may look like, and especially through kids' eyes for a father. It was a fine line, kind of trying to make it realistic, but without it making it too scary.
So I always ask people to leave a message of hope, or just a message in general that you feel that others should hear that would be valuable for them.
Okay. For me, what helped me is, I guess what gave me hope was knowing that recovery is possible. I mean, I went, and I don't just mean from addictions, I mean from depression, anxiety, and all of it. I mean, at one point I was sleeping on the hospital floor on a mattress because they took my bed away. I was locked in a room with cameras right beside the nurse's station. That was like the darkest day of my life, in the psych ward. I thought I was going crazy. And if I can go from that to being a functional, normal person, then, you know, it's possible for anyone to come back. I've met people in Pine Lodge in treatment. They were homeless, doing heroin all day, every day, on Hastings Street in Vancouver, like where there's overdoses and, you know, death every day. They went from there to now they're addiction counselors. So anything is possible. So, I mean, hope is a really great word because there's always hope. The biggest thing is to be proactive, though. You have to do the work. It is hard. It's hard work. A lot of it, I mean, it's simple, but it's hard work. And that took a while for me to grasp that it's, you know, it's simple. The process is simple, but the work is hard. And that's good for me. I don't mind hard work. I hate complicated things. So knowing it's simple is good, but I don't mind doing the work. I mean, at the time I kind of minded some days. But,
Yes.
But things like empathy, forgiveness, acceptance, gratitude is huge. It's just simple things, simple positive things. And you know, talk to others, listen to others' stories, and be with other people that are going through what you're going through. Don't go there and drag each other down. I mean, go to a group of other people that know what you've been through and are healing, and are supporting each other, because it's huge having that. Nothing feels better than talking to someone who knows exactly what you're saying and feeling or have felt, and they, you know, they're healthy and happy and living and being functional.